Evening, everybody, and welcome back to Cannon Chatter. Tonight is a very special show. I'm actually hosting for the first time, and also it's our first episode for the Cannon Chatter FPL League, and we're calling this episode Fantasy Football for Dummies. And tonight I'm joined by Stephen. How are you, Stephen?
I'm good, Lottie. How are you?
I'm good. It's been a very busy day for me today. How about you?
Oh, do you know what? I've had a nightmare of a day. I've had the kids all day, and it has been raining here non-stop. So one of the neighbour kids called first thing this morning, and while we were getting the boys dressed, I brought him in to sort of watch TV while he was waiting, and he left at 4:45 tonight. So yeah, it's been a long day with 3 kids to entertain all day. So
oh wow,
this is a welcome break.
Oh no, definitely. That sounds like a very, very busy day. I thought my day was hectic. Okay, guys, I'm just going to run the intro and then we'll get into it.
Arsenal have gone through an entire league campaign without losing. The first time it's happened.
All right, guys, welcome back. So tonight we're going to be talking about the basic rules and how to play fantasy football throughout the season. Obviously, we've got 38 weeks to play, and you've got a team of 15 players. And the budget is 100 million, which is quite reasonably priced. But if you want players like Fernandez and Salah, you're looking at 12 million a hit. And obviously, that if you dip both of those players, it takes a big chunk out. Stephen, is there any players that you're looking at that you'd like to have that are like premium players? We're talking like the likes of Harry Kane.
Let me just bring my team up on my own screen over here so I can see who I've actually picked. I did this a few weeks ago. I picked my team, and I haven't really touched it since. I have the likes of Kane in there, who was I think he's about 12 million. And I think that was really the only sort of really big one I had. A lot of mine are sort of a lot cheaper. So I've kind of got a team of 6-7 million pound players the whole way across, rather than having 2 or 3 really expensive players.
Okay.
What about yourself?
I did do the shameful thing, and I bought Salah, and who else have I bought? And then I think it goes down from there. I've got like 8s and 7s, and then obviously at my bench I'm not going to use very much, so it's like 4s and 5 millions. I didn't spend a lot on my keepers either, to be fair. So
But then you've changed your team quite a bit, haven't you?
I change it every other day. I just at the moment that's what I've got. I mean, nobody's actually seen my current team, but all my old pictures I've put on Twitter, so you've seen what I've been playing with. So
you see, to be fair, I kind of needed this show tonight myself, because you know, when it comes to this version of the fantasy football, I am a dummy.
Not the only one.
Do you know, I used to play it a few years ago. I think it was the Sun one we used to play, and on it you could literally like change your team every week. So, you know, all this sort of stuff on this one of triple captaining and vice captaining and, you know, having substitutes and stuff, I don't understand how it ever works. So I'm looking forward to finding out what it's actually all about.
Oh, have you got our star boy, Stephen? That's a good one from Michael.
I'm going to be honest, at the minute, no.
He's a steal. He's only 6.5 million. He's an absolute steal.
This is the thing. This is what I'm talking about. I'm used to that version where I could change my team every week. So, you know, for me, it was kind of well, he probably won't play in the first game because he's only back the preseason. So, you know, why put him in? But if I can't change my team, then I might have to put him in. I haven't decided. I say my team it's what I picked a few weeks ago, and you know, I'm sure there'll be more players transferring into the league over the next week that, you know, we may want to put in. So I would say even what I have now would probably be completely different than it will in, you know, a week's time.
No, definitely. Well, you're going to have unlimited transfers. No prices are going to change on any players until 6:30 on the 13th before our game kicks off the season. So, guys, keep changing your teams. Do what I do. Just keep changing it. Keep changing it until you're happy with it. Me, I don't know if I'm ever going to be happy with it, if I'm honest with you. Hello, hi, Danny. Right, so starting off with everything, let me just bear with me.
Well, just while you're bringing that up, I will say I've noticed that they've already changed Grealish into a City top after his 100 million transfer tonight. So he's already in a City top because I have got him in my team.
Oh, wow.
So.
Oh, wow. So
we're on the ball with that one.
No, definitely they were on the ball. I mean, when Ben White was changed over, I think I had him. So I ended up having 4 Arsenal players in my team, which became very interesting. But obviously I changed it, so I now have like less than 2.
So when can you stop? Can you change your team to? Is it to the start of the season or is it up to the transfer window?
With the transfers, you've got unlimited transfers until the 13th at 6:30, like just I said, which is unlimited. It's completely free. But with the transfers, you're allowed 1 per week. So that means you can change 1 player each week. But if you don't use that transfer, it can be carried over to the week after. So you have 2, but you can't keep carrying your transfers over. The max you can carry over is 2. So if you had 2 transfers from previous 2 weeks and use 1, the following week you'd still have 2 because you'd have the new one and the old one that you didn't use.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Because I'm just thinking, because obviously with the news that Messi is not signing with Barcelona. You still there? Okay, we seem to have lost Lottie. Or me. Guys in the chat, can you tell us who we've lost? Oh, I can see you again. You're back.
Sorry, guys. My internet dropped there. I was just sending you a message. It completely dropped. I do apologise about that.
No worries.
Sorry.
Yeah, so saying with the news that Messi's not signing or not able to sign on to Barcelona, there's a potential.
They just can't afford him.
City or somewhere.
Yeah, they just can't afford. Even though he took a 50% pay cut, they just can't afford him.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
So if he comes to City in the last week of the transfer window or something, you'd like to put him in your team.
No, my most expensive player I've got is Salah. Purely based on the captaincy points from research that I've been looking at the field and things. So it's gonna get interesting. All right, let's have a look at the comments quickly. Oh, we've got G in there. Saka in mine, but we'll be benching for first 2-3 games. G, you should know Saka. I don't think so. You'd probably be on the bench for maybe 1 game. There's no way. What do you think, Stephen?
Well, this is what I'm saying. He's only returned to pre-season training, so.
But you know what he's like. He's going to be in that first team. He's going to want to be there.
Yeah, because I can see him sitting out the Brentford game. It's not as important, but then our next 2 are City and Chelsea. So we are going to need him for those. So hopefully he will be back in for those 2.
Okay, let's see what else we've got in the comments. Has anybody got Grealish? I do. We do. Anybody else in the comments got Grealish in the middle? Danny's changed his team like 20 times. I've done mine about 1 million. I've lost count. Tony's got no Arsenal players. Okay.
He's got 4 Arsenal players.
Oh, no, he's got... well, okay. You had Ben White before he moved, didn't you, Tony? I do apologise about that. I read that wrong. He must have had Ben White when he was at Brighton still. I think.
Funny, I actually I took Pepe out to put Ben White in.
Oh, that's a big call.
Yeah.
I'm expecting big things from him this season after the end of tail end season. Oh,
I am going to be honest. I'll tell you one thing in my team. I have Aubameyang, and I'm pretty sure he's going to be coming out.
I think once he gets his first goal, I think he'll be good to go. You know that. I really do. I think he'll be on an absolute roll.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a confidence thing. Okay, so Michael's got Madison, Saka, Grealish, Summons, Zaha in the middle. Ooh, why Zaha? That's a good question. What do you think of that, Stephen?
So it's apart from the Spurs player, but I can't say anything because I've got Kane in there. Although I'm banking on Kane transferring to City, which is the only reason why I put him in. And it's a decent midfield. Your only concern would be Madison and Grealish are both quite injury prone. That would be my concern with that midfield. Zaha will get you assists, and he will get goals because he's greedy.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So I mean, and Son will do well. He always does. Look at the assists and stuff last season. And Saka. You see, this is the thing in terms of the point scoring. Mm-hmm. How do players score points? Because that affects, again, I'm basing it on the ones I used to play. I wouldn't have picked Saka because you're looking at goals and assists, and at the minute, whilst he influences our play so much, he doesn't necessarily get a massive amount of goals or assists. So he wouldn't be scoring as heavily in those games I would have played. But is it more to do with their rating in the match or anything?
Yeah, well, I am going to get to points. I have got that. So can we come back to that if that's okay?
Yeah, we'll come back to that.
Okay, so let's get into it. We're going to start off with the really big basics. So when you first sign up, you can do it on your Android or your iPhone or on the Premier League website, which we will be showing links to towards the end of the show. So we start with our first basic 15. Can you see that okay, Stephen? Or do you need to make it big?
Yeah, that's fine.
So we've got 2 goal. Oh, my bad. Sorry, guys. Got 2 goalkeepers, 5 defenders, 5 midfielders, and 3 forwards. And you've got 100 million to spend. So the budget is great, but as I said earlier, when you're buying players like Harry Kane, Salah, Fernandes, they're all priced at 10 to 12 million each. Even Aubameyang's 10 million, I believe. And that obviously, if you're buying 2 of those players, that's nearly a quarter of your budget. And then you're going to have to look to the smaller clubs to fill in the empty spaces. But if I'm honest with you, the starting 11 is where you want to spend your money. I wouldn't worry about your bench too much because you're not going to really use it unless there's injuries. But if you want to transfer your bench out, you can obviously transfer out one of the players that you've picked as well. Once a week, as I've said earlier. You're allowed a maximum of 3 players from each club. So for me, I had Tierney, I have Saka, and I have ESR. Those 3, that's it for me. I can't have someone like Pepe unless I want to sell someone. There is absolutely no choice, but that is the rules. It's the same. It's the same for every club. You can have three players from every club. So once you've got that picked out, you can then play around with the formations. With the formations, you can do absolutely anything with it. You can have a 3-4-3, which is the basic standard one, which you will get when you log in. And then there's also the 5-3-2, or absolutely anything you want. Once I can get my internet to work, I will be able to show you how to change it all in a second. For the moment, let's go through the comments and see what people are saying. Georgina, oh, do you think he'll go, Stephen?
Who's that? If Messi goes to City?
Back to Messi and City, yeah.
I don't know. It's a tough call. City are probably the only club that can afford him in England. And listen, I said to you guys, I can't remember whether it was in our group chat or whether I was talking to G about it the other night. Mm-hmm. I don't mind if Kane doesn't go. Mm-hmm. Because I actually think Spurs have more chance of getting a couple of quality strikers if Kane mm-hmm. goes. than they do if he stays, because no one wants to come. None of the big strikers want to come to Spurs and play second fiddle to Kane, and they know they're going to be second fiddle to Kane.
Mm-hmm.
So if he stays, they're not going to be able to sign another decent striker, and he invariably gets injured for 10 games a season. You know, he gets that knock and gets out for 10 games a season, and that's where their season derails. So him staying there, they're going to continue to have that and not win anything. Whereas if he goes and they get 120 million, well, they may be able to buy a couple of decent strikers all of a sudden and maybe more competitive. So I'm all right with him not going. So if Messi wants to go to City and Kane stay at Spurs, I'm all right with that.
That sounds good. And then the Grealish money isn't wasted, is it?
No. And Grealish going or leaving Villa. I think that was kind of obvious that was going to happen. It was just, you know, how much he was going to go for. I don't know if you've seen, just while you're doing that, the Villa chairman released or did a thing on Aston Villa TV there at about 7, explaining the reasons why they sold him. And I think it was Chris Wheatley had put up a comment saying about how dignified and how good it was. And it was like, well, hold on. The chairman's just said they agreed a deal when he signed his new contract last year that if a Champions League club came, he could go as long as Villa weren't in the Champions League. But what they did was they set the release fee so high they didn't think anybody would pay it. And I thought, well, that's not really very dignified. You give them a clause, but you basically a clause you didn't think anybody was going to hit. So I think Villa showing themselves in a bad light there, personally. But they're spending their money well. You know, the bringing in Buendia. Apparently, they're looking at Todd Cantwell. They want to try and get James Ward-Prowse. They've got Leon Bailey coming in for Leverkusen. And obviously Danny Ings announced yesterday as well. So, I mean, they're spending the money wisely.
No, definitely. They're not wasting the money like Spurs did when they had Bale sold. So, no, definitely wise choices, I think. They're definitely going to be challenging for maybe an FA Cup or something, I think.
Could well be.
Not the league, though. Right, so each week, guys, you've got 11 players. Let me just pull this up. So this on my screen is actually... sorry, guys. Is actually my dummy team. As you can see, my team is called Cronky Out, and that's not my actual team. This is just an absolute dummy account. These players you're seeing on the screen are actually ticked off to be very good starts this season, and they're expected to get all the points in. So if you want to change up your team, you can. So at the moment, I've got them in a basic 3-4-3. And I'm going to show you how to change the formation. So I quite fancy having a 5-3-2. So what I need to do is basically bring Turney on. You switch with the iPhones or Androids. You do the same thing. You just tap on the player, and then I want to take off Rafinha, switch it, and then it converts into a back 4. It's exactly the same with the strikers. Click on it, and then have I got another defender here? Yeah, let's put that one on, and then I can put Manquillo in the back, and then it switches to a 5-3-2. You can do this with anything. You've just got to swap the positions around. It's quite straightforward, if I'm honest with you. If I wanted a back 3, I just have to take off. If I take Manquillo off again, we'll put Rafinha back on, and then we'll take Kufal off, and we'll put Bazuma back in the middle. Obviously, you can't exactly drag the players around and move them side to side. Which is really rather annoying. So if I wanted to put Salah back on this side of the screen where Bazuma is, what I'd have to do is take Salah off and put, say, Tony back in the place, which will again change my formation. But what I can do then is click on Salah, switch, and then switch in with Bazuma. So it's quite straightforward. If you need to move players around to the right side, it's really not that difficult to change the formation. Personally, I quite like the idea of 5 at the back and 3 in the middle and 2 at the front, purely because the fullbacks do score mega points if they score or if they get an assist. It can be something up to 12 points, I believe. So I definitely recommend that. What do you think, Stephen?
Yeah, it looks straightforward. I don't really see the point in fiddling about with where people are positioned on the pitch, because I don't think it makes any difference in terms of their scoring or anything. One question for you. If you're saying you can transfer one player per week, but in terms of your subs, how often can you use your subs?
Well, in terms of using your subs, you've got to basically decide your starting 11 before the first game of the weekend. So, for example, when the season starts, we're the first game. We've got an 8 o'clock kickoff, I believe. But they are stopping us from changing our teams at 6:30. So if you look at the top of the screen, there's always there's always going to be game week 1, whatever game week it is, and then the deadline for you to change your team. So it's 6:30 on Friday for everybody.
So I can use all 4 of my subs every week if I wanted to.
You can swap them around. You can swap them around as long as you change them by that date. Once that time and date is gone, you can't change your team at all.
Because obviously I'm just thinking that, then you'd be looking at based on who those players are playing against in the next round of fixtures, and you could change your formation based on that. So if you know that your 5 defenders, for example, in your squad are all going to be in games where you think they're going to do really well, you could change to a 5 at the back for that week.
Yep, no, definitely. Yep. And if a player doesn't play, what the app does, it automatically subs in a player that is playing, so you won't lose out on points, which I find is quite cool. But it's not necessarily what you want.
Yeah.
But that way you don't miss out on points. If a player doesn't play, or if they're injured in training, for example, it will automatically change it, especially if it's after that deadline that's on the screen.
Okay.
Thing is, also your subs can get points if they do come on, but they've got to play more than 15 minutes. I believe it is. I might be wrong there. I need to double check that, but they do get points if they do come on. So obviously every week you'll be managing a team of 11. The main rule for each team is you have to have your goalkeeper, a minimum of 3 defenders, 2 midfielders and 1 forward. And obviously you can do all the different combinations. As I've said before, you can do 4-4-2, 5-3-2, 3-4-3. Doesn't matter. It's how you want to do it. And then obviously each week you can pick your captains and vice captains. With the captains and vice captains, you can change it as much as you like. But they do receive double points. So if you look at my screen, what I've got here, from what FPL videos I've looked up everything, and I've looked at the stats, I've looked at the numbers. At the moment, it seems that Salah is the main man to be making captain, because he gets double points. He gets the goals, he gets the assists. We all know how he plays, and he was ranked, I believe, 2nd for points last year in the FPL. I think he was just behind Harry Kane, who was on 2-4-2. So I definitely recommend Kane. And then obviously, if you want to choose a vice captain, mine on here at the moment is automatically changed to Ben White. So if your captain doesn't play at all in that game and he doesn't set foot on that pitch, your double points will go over to your vice captain. So choose that person very, very wisely. But the only downside to it is if neither of them play, you don't get no double points. You'll get absolutely nothing. So definitely choose your captains very wisely. And also, when it comes to red cards, if your captain gets a red card, they lose the points for the red card, but it's double the points. So you will lose points for cards as well as yellows.
Okay.
So getting the double points is all great, but there's also the knock-on effect of not having those points as well. You could lose it.
So then, what is triple captain?
Right. I'll come back to that in a second. That's in the next bit when we come to chips, because you only can use that once a season. So I'll come back to that in a second. Right. We've spoke about deadlines. Right. So the next thing I wanted to talk about was the player pricing. So let me just get this up. Bear with me.
just while you're doing that, has anybody actually taken the time to design their own kit? I noticed obviously down the side of the page there. I'm not sure if you can do it on the apps. I haven't actually seen it on the app. But I don't know if you're doing it through the computer, you can design your own kit. Has anybody taken the time to do it?
Yeah, I have. Sorry. Yeah, I've done it. Mine's completely purple. Purple's my favorite color. I don't care. Guys, have you done any?
Looks like Liam's done it.
Yep, Liam's definitely done it. Oh, Michael said I'm correct. That players get points when they do come on. Okay. Ooh, okay. But is it worth, Matt, is it worth getting the points if they're attacking? So if we got, say, Tierney that comes down the sides and does an assist, is it worth it? Michael.
A random fact that's deadly true. Spurs home shirt is made out of bottles this year. It's perfect for them.
Recycled.
Bottle it. Nice.
Plastic bottles, obviously.
Well, they have to be environmentally conscious.
No, definitely. There you go. Liam's gone with basically a Arsenal kit with a few add-ons. Okay, that's cool. Right, so now we're going to look at player pricing. So I don't know. Let me just zoom in. Let me know when it's big enough, Stephen, so you can see. So on the right-hand side, obviously on the app it'll be a bit different. You can actually see the list. But on my laptop, this is what it looks like. So I'm going to pull up. All right, let's go all players. So the max a player will be is 12.5 million, which you will be looking at the likes of mostly strikers, and forwards, I should say, in that term. So if you can see, you've got the likes of Kane, and you can see his points from last year and what he scored. If I wanted to narrow it down, I could. Hang on a second. Let's go there. So, yeah. So these three are the most expensive forwards we've got, and these prices are absolutely frozen until the new season. When the season starts, the prices can change, and you can actually make a profit on them if you decide to sell them at the right time. So, the price of a player, whether it goes up or down, does depend on how many FPL managers are buying and selling a player. So that's how many players, basically. It can go up and down. There is a website, which I will be putting in the link after this, called FPL statistics.co.uk, which does predict how much the prices will go up and down throughout the season. As the season goes on, it will get more accurate. But once the season starts, obviously the price changes do happen. Maximum change is 0.1 million a day. So it can go up on, say, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday by 0.1. So that's a total of 0.3. But that is the maximum a player will go up. And it applies to the same as it gets decreased, if that makes sense. So if you wanted to sell a Aubameyang and you bought him for 10 million, and then you see that his price has gone up to 10.2 million because he's performing well, you will then profit from that sale. You will get 0.1 from that sale. It's only a 50% profit for some reason. I'm not 100% sure why, but it applies to every single player, whether it's going down or going up. How does that sound, Stephen?
Good. So then I take it then if you're buying a player, then you can use that profit. So even if it takes you over your 100 million original budget.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. You can use that 100 million, but you still can't buy more than 15 players. You'd have to sell someone, and then if that person was a little bit more, you'd have more money to buy them. If that makes sense, without you selling your core players that you've got on the screen.
Excellent. So really, to do this properly, you really have to keep an eye on it every week.
Yeah, no, definitely. Obviously, I'm going to do bits and pieces for it throughout the season, so and get different people to come on and maybe talk about their teams and things. If anybody's interested, drop me a DM on Twitter and let me know. I think that could be really good fun. The next thing I'm going to talk about is the chips. Where are we? Okay, they're not on here. So let me just get rid of this. So basically the chips, we've got one wild card. Well, you get 2 wild cards every season. You get a free hit, triple captain, bear with me, and a bench boost. With the wild card, you get two of them a season, but you don't get them all in one go. So you get one from August through to January, which is where you can completely wipe your team and start from scratch and actually keep the players. And then obviously you can do this when you get your second chip in January, between January and May. Obviously that team will stay the same until you start making transfers again. The free hit is slightly similar to the wild card, but you only get this one once. With this, you have it for a week. 1 week, you get to wipe your team out, but the following week, you get your old team back from 2 weeks ago. So you do not get to keep that team for that week. The following.
Sorry,
week.
explain that to me again.
Sorry, Stephen. So with the free hit, it completely changes your team, but you only get to keep it for 1 week. After that week, after you used it, and after that week is gone, it reverts back to your old team that you originally had the previous week.
Right, but you get to pick that new team. It doesn't automatically pick it for you, I think. Right, okay. So you get basically a free hit is you get to change your entire team for 1 week.
Yep, basically.
Okay.
Basically, and then obviously we've got bench boost, which is one useful season. This is where your normal 11 players will get all their points throughout, but you're also, if your entire bench plays, you get those points as well. You only get to use that once a season. Triple captain is basically like the captain points, but it's obviously triple points, triple positive or triple negative, depending on what happens during the game.
We'll certainly end up bottom of the Cannon Chatter League. I always keep up around November, funny enough.
Warren, I think you're going to find that very difficult because we've got 80 players at the moment, including myself, Stephen and G, and that bottom spot is reserved for me. Let's get that straight, okay?
I'd be happy as long as I don't finish bottom.
No, I'd like the amount of little digs I've had on my screens. I'm going to finish last. I just know it. I don't care, but it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun at the end of the day. Oh, Michael's definitely up for coming on one. That sounds good. That is a very good point, Michael. So a double game week is where, say, we have Premier League games moved because of a cup final or rescheduled for whatever reason. And then we have 2 games in 1 week, or we have 3 games in 1 week. And all your players, all your players are from different teams, obviously they're going to play throughout that week. And that's usually really helpful. Just keep that chip for.
So save those then really till sort of February, March time.
Yeah, that's what I'm hearing at the moment. And as Michael said, save it for when it's a double week, when a team's playing twice.
Okay.
Okay. So the scoring is based on performance. I'm just gonna pull it up. Wait me 1 second, guys. If you've got any questions or anything, please drop them in to the comments. What do you think so far, Stephen? Of like the chips and things?
Yeah, it's good. I'm certainly learning a lot. I don't know, maybe you guys in the chat already knew all this sort of stuff, but certainly for me, as I said at the start, I was a complete dummy going into this, so it's good to know what I need to do to keep competitive. I'm trying to, as I've said before, I'm getting prizes. There will be a prize for the winner of this league come the end of the season. There will be some spot prizes sort of during the season and stuff. And I can't really be winning them, but I'm still going to put myself in a position if I can. And if I do win them, I'll just give them away anyway. But do you know what? The competitive nature in me wants to win it. I'm happy as long as I don't finish bottom, but yeah, the competitive nature in me wants to win this. So even if it is our league, I still want to win it.
Oh, Michael's going to be a gentleman and finish bottom for me.
Do you know what? We've seen this when we first launched this. Everybody was saying, "Oh, I'm going to finish bottom." But people need to have more confidence.
No, definitely. Thing is,
It's all
this is my
fight to
first
win.
season. No, definitely. Thing is, this is my first season playing, so it's tricky. As I'm very indecisive with stuff, and you've seen how many times I've changed my team. So, right. So, this is our points board. Can we all see that? So we've got, for every player that plays for 60 minutes, it's pretty self-explanatory. You get 3 points. So if, for example, Arteta doesn't decide to change till the 73rd minute and you've got Arsenal players in there, you get 3 points for each player that's played over 60 minutes. Well, actually, no, that's wrong. Playing 1 to 60 minutes is 3 points. If you have more players playing over 60 minutes, that's 6 points per player, which is, I think, is pretty good. But all of this, guys, is on the FPL website. So if you want to go and take a closer look, there's all different things. I mean, conceding a penalty is -3, missing a penalty is -6. Ooh, that's a bit of a big one, isn't it, Stephen?
Which one are you looking at? Sorry.
Missing a penalty is -6 points.
Yeah. That's to be fair. Well, I was going to say Arsenal players aren't too bad at penalties, but then it's not just Arsenal players. I got to get this out of my head. We're not talking about Arsenal here. We're talking about the whole league. So yeah, I mean -6 for a missed penalty. Conceding a penalty is -3.
Yeah.
Getting a red card -9.
Yeah. Can you imagine?
Good job David Luiz isn't in this anymore.
Yeah. Can you imagine having a captain sent off? That's -18 points.
Right.
That's a lot of points because obviously it's double points.
But looking at it then, obviously forward scoring a goal, 24 points, which is why then, I would say most people would make a forward their captain. And that's probably why the likes of Harry Kane probably will be captain in most people's teams.
Yeah, and I think that's why
because he will get a lot of goals.
Yeah, I think that's why he was top of the board for last year, looking at the stats and things. That's cool, Michael. Oh, Michael's learnt something new. -6. There's quite a few things. I'm definitely going to be dropping a lot of being caught offside points this season. It's only -1, but we know how Arsenal players are, if I've got any in there.
So we're being caught offside,
conceding
a foul, being tackled, you lose a point.
Yep.
Making an error, which leads to an attempt on goal. There's a lot of stuff takes the points away.
Yeah, but there's also a lot of points where you're earning points. So if one of your forwards scores a goal, it's 24 points. If the midfielder scores a goal, that's 18 points. Or defenders or goalkeeper, it's 12 points. So it's kind of balanced, really, isn't it?
Yeah. Sort of reading through some of these.
I do like the idea of the first two. So if all your players make it through 1 to 60 minutes, that's all 3 points for your whole team. And then anybody over that is double points. I think that's quite good. What do you guys think in the chat of the point system?
Sorry, creating a key pass. There's one. So not just passes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. 90% plus pass completion. At least 30 passes attempted.
Wow.
Well, there you go. Get L sideways in your team. 6 points every game because they'll all be passed sideways.
and he's only 4.5 million. All of Arsenal's defenders, apart from Kieran Tierney, are less than 5 million. Can you believe it? Bargains. Absolute bargains. Hi, Chris. He's got them. Oh, he's got Kane as his vice captain. Okay. Who's your first pick for captain then? No, definitely. I definitely agree with that. What do you think, Stephen?
Yeah, it all seems pretty fair. It's just the scoring is very complicated.
No, definitely. Thing is, I believe they use Opta for I think Opta Statistics that does all the data for it and data analysis, which makes the final decision on what points that you get at full time. So,
can you move that up a wee bit because there's one at the bottom. I can't see what it is.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, bear with me 1 second. I might have to zoom. There we go. Oh,
right. So a shot off target is -1 as well.
Yeah.
So Aubameyang's definitely coming out of my team at the minute.
Yeah, no, definitely. You're definitely going to be losing points for that. And the way he's been going. But yeah, no, it looks pretty decent if I'm honest.
I mean, it does. There's a lot of variations there, and it would take a lot to sort of go through them all and try and score it yourself. You'd have to be really analytical to sit down and look at sort of last season and look at how the points are scored and how people play and where you would make your points and who you think's good. You know, you'd have to be really, really deep into the analytics of it. Whereas I think for myself, you know, I just kind of have my team's picked on players I think will do well. And now seeing the scoring system, I'm thinking to myself, right, I need to reassess this slightly.
No, definitely. I mean, once I've started looking at it, I think the best way to look at it is look at the fixtures and who's at home, who's away. And I believe with the app, they have got a color coding system. So there's obviously green, orange, and red, a bit like traffic light system. Green is obviously what they consider an easy game. Orange is in the middle, and obviously red is the top flight teams, the hard games, where people will be challenged. And when you look at that, when you look at the players on the app, and you're looking to buy, what you do, if you scroll to the right, you just swipe right, and you'll go along, and you'll get to see their first 3 to 5 fixtures, and it will be color coded, so you can see who they're coming up against, whether they're home or away, and you can just go from there. Really, that's what I've done with my most recent team, and I think I am actually happy with it.
So I'm curious for you guys in the chat at the minute, have you picked your teams based on this sort of information and thinking about all these different things that you could potentially score points for? Or like me, have you thought who's going to keep clean sheets and who's going to score goals? Because looking at that, you know, it is heavily weighted for those sort of things, but you do get points for all the other stuff. So, I mean, I'm looking and I've got, see who have I got? Let me use an example here. Samara at Leicester in my midfield, because I think he'll do well in terms of tackles and you know, that sort of thing. But I don't think he's going to get an awful lot of assists or goals. So he's not going to be getting the high points, but he'll be consistent, getting tackle points and stuff like that. So now I'm sort of going, well, do I need to replace him as a midfielder for a midfielder who's going to get more assists? So the likes of a Madison or someone like that. You know, so I'm curious, you guys in the chat, you know, what way have you picked your teams?
Yeah, Stephen, when I was talking about when you buy players, what you can do is as you swipe through to all the way to the end, the columns in between there's the history of the points they scored last season, and then all the percentages of what they got last season, as well as obviously teams like Watford, Norwich. Who else came up? Brentford. Is that all of them? I think so. They're not going to have any data. So they are the people you're going to take a risk on.
Yeah.
So let's see what we're saying in the comments. Michael has Saka as his captain. That's a very good choice. Do you think he's going to play the first game? Maybe. I'm not 100% on that one.
But you see, that's where just before you go, that's where I would question having Saka in the team. Because as I said, Saka will drive a lot of our play at Arsenal, but he doesn't score a massive amount of goals. He got 5 goals last season, I think it was, and he doesn't really get a massive amount of assists yet. That's still part of his game that he has to work on. So you're not going to get the big points from him in the sense of you're not going to get the big assist points or the big goal scoring points.
Yeah, but thing is, the stuff that he is good at, like the interceptions and everything else, there will be double points for that, but also double negative points. So it's a sort of win-win, so to speak. If he scores, all the better.
Yeah.
The thing is, he is classed as a midfielder, so that will be only 18 points, not 24. So it's an option. Very good point, though. Kevin De Bruyne from Chris as captain. Okay, that's different. There is Chris. We've just had the numbers up for that. Let me just double check. So, conceding a penalty, and making an error which leads to a goal is -3 points. Making an error which leads to an attempted goal is -1 point. So we can lose points on that, Chris. Callum Wilson. That's an interesting pick. Stephen, what do you think?
Could get goals, especially if they, if they kick Willock. Willock might create some for them. So yeah, I mean, it's an interesting pick. I'm just looking at Saka here. Got 114 points last season.
Yeah.
Let me see. I'll just see if I can find Callum Wilson. It is an interesting one.
Okay.
Because he won't get cost too much, I don't think.
No, I don't think so. I think he'd be in the 5, maybe 4 region. Maybe might be pushing it. Because I know you can't get any players less than 3, or no, less than 4, I should say.
No, he's got 7.5.
Wow.
Got 134 points last season.
Oh, that's interesting.
So yeah, I mean that's 116 the season before and 168 the season before that when he's still at Bournemouth.
Oh, okay. Okay, so that could be an interesting one, Michael. It's definitely an option.
Yeah,
definitely.
That's one worth looking at.
Yep, but you've got to make sure you've got a tight defence, though, Michael, because obviously you can lose points for shoddy defending as well. Up to 4 points, depending whether it's an attempt or a conceded an error leading to a goal. Yeah, no, definitely. I've got exactly the same as that. My starting 11, I did spend, but I think the most expensive player I've got on my bench is Kieran Tierney, and he was 5 mil. So, Stephen? Did you do anything similar to what Chris has done? He's binned off all his subs.
As I said, my whole team sort of. It's built around sort of £5-6 million players. It's not really built around having high value. I'm just sort of looking at my forward line here: 10, 8, and 12.5. But the rest of it, I mean, if you look across the 5 midfielders I have, you've got 8 million, 6.5, 4.5, 5, and 6. And my defenders are 5, 4.5, 5.5, 5.5, 6, and my goalkeepers 5 and 6. So it's all kind of that price range. There's not, as I say, apart from the 4 at the front, there's none of them are really big money.
Okay. Did you have any left over, or did you spend it all?
I think I have about 2 million left.
Oh wow, very nice.
But as I say, I mean, I'd probably change some of my team over the next week because I do expect there to be a lot of transfers over the next sort of 7 days. Not just for Arsenal, obviously, but I think for the whole of the league, I think we'll start to hot up now.
I think the whole Grealish move has definitely set a domino effect amongst everybody. Absolutely everybody. Right, let's move on to the next one. Georgina has Watkins. I have Watkins as well. He had a very good season last season. I believe he had 168 points, which was brilliant for him anyway, considering the season they had. Do you know what? I think it might be a fair rotation between them. I mean, they've now got Buendia in as well. So it's going to be very interesting to see how Villa played all three of them, if I'm honest. Let's see what else we've got. G, cover your eyes. What do you think of that comment? From Chris.
Yeah, I'm hoping number 2 won't be here by then.
That's very true. Liam's got Tammy in. Yeah, no, that is true. But he also was linked with us at one point. So you might see him in the red and white, Liam. Let's just watch the space. Warren's also got... Oh, no, Warren's getting rid of Watkins as well. Although he is actually tipped to be a very good player this season from what I've seen from the FPL scouts. Georgina, you need to stop copying my front three.
Do you know what? I'm unsure on Tony. He's either going to do really well or he's going to be a massive flop.
Well, it's a big risk either way. But I think he's gonna want to score against us on Friday either way. Yeah. So I think he was the best goal scorer in the Championship last season.
Yeah.
I think he's on form, so you never know really. Let's see if he turns up. Who are we? Oh, let me guess. Grealish, Chris. Oh. 1 second. Sorry, wrong comment. Got TCL and Bamford too. No, that's not bad at all. You've got your aerial threat, Warren. And Bamford was on 194 last season, so he did really well.
Yeah, funny. I've got Bamford in my team.
Yeah, me too.
I actually picked this. I didn't realize I could see last season's points when I picked the team. So
yeah, really good pick. Yeah, I didn't see Ings. Warren says the whole Ings thing has thrown him. It completely threw me as well, to be fair. I didn't see it coming. Did you?
No. The thing with the Ings transfer that's thrown me is the money that they've spent. Mm-hmm. You know, he had 1 season left on his deal with Southampton and he's gone for 30 million. And you're kind of thinking, well, at 30 million, have to play him. If he'd have gone for 7 or 8 million, which is really what he's worth, you know, you'd be going, no, well, Ollie Watkins will start and Ings will be on the bench and be that sort of impact sub. But the fact that they spent 30 million on him, you're kind of thinking, no, they're going to have to play him. Although they spent over 30 million on Ollie Watkins when they brought him in, so unless they're going to go to 2 at the front.
You never know.
Or Watkins, I think, can play on the left a wee bit as well. So he could, you know, Watkins could potentially go into that role that Grealish played.
Yeah.
And play sort of left wing.
Yeah.
And play Ings up front.
No, definitely. He could also put Emmy in there as well.
I think Buendia plays the 10.
Yeah. No, definitely. I think he's everywhere, to be fair. When I've watched him, he moves everywhere. The same way that Grealish does. And I think that was the whole point of them buying him, to be honest.
Yeah.
So
I think they always knew they were going to sell Grealish.
Yeah, no, they knew it. They knew it, but I don't really. The reaction I've seen from their fan base, it's not been great, has it? From what I've seen on my timeline on Twitter.
No. Does anybody want to admit to having a really random player that nobody else would have? throw in some ideas of random players that they've picked.
That'd be good. Georgina, I'm assuming Georgina's talking about Tony, but she's not wrong. Having players from different teams does absolutely help instead of having 3 from one team. Chris, we've already talked about this. You're going to have to rewind, I'm afraid, to find out the answer. Okay, so the next part, I thought I'd quickly run through the based on performance and the technicalities of clean sheets and assists. I still haven't quite got my head around and assists, but hopefully you guys can help me, or I can help you. So clean sheets are awarded for no goals conceded, obviously, but the play of a clean sheet needs to have at least 60 minutes. Obviously, if you concede after that 60 minutes, you don't get the points.
Sorry, just a quick one there. Michael needs to pop out, guys. Love the show. I keep supporting you guys. Love it. Sorry, I have to go. No worries. Thank you for joining us tonight, Michael.
No worries. So if you have a clean sheet for 60 minutes, then concede, you don't get the points. But if you have a 0-0 draw and it's still, obviously, you get the points for your clean sheet. Red cards are really interesting. You get a player sent off, you lose the points to that player, but you also lose points for every goal that the opposing team scores. So every goal that goes in, you lose more points after they've gone down to 10 men.
Right.
So it's a bit. I found that one really interesting personally, because you wouldn't think you'd lose points for that, especially if that player's not on the pitch.
Yeah. It's like a double punishment.
Yeah, no, definitely, because of the player's behaviour. It's a bit crazy. So with assists, this is where it gets a little bit complicated. So points are awarded to the player that create the chance, whether it's intentional or unintentional. So those wonderful goals we don't see coming, if that player created the assist, they get the points. But no assist will be awarded if another player touches the ball after the final pass is made from your team player. And if that other player does touch it and changes the destination significantly, no assist is awarded, because somebody else touched that ball before your player passed it on to put it to another player to get it in the net.
Okay.
Also, if opposing players touch the ball, followed by a defensive error, and then then your player gains it back, and then passes it on to whoever's going to score, you don't get the assist because you lost the ball.
Right.
So you don't actually get points for any of that, which is quite interesting. It's kind of similar with the rebounds. If a ball rebounds off a keeper or hits the woodwork, you get assist points for that. Own goals, you get points for that. An assist point is awarded if the player has to force it into the net. Ultimately, that is down to Opta, who analyzes all the data throughout the game. So you could get points for an own goal, but you'll obviously lose points for the own goal. So it's a bit of a counterbalance in a way. The next part is very interesting. There's a thing called bonus points. With the bonus points, it analyzes all the players on the pitch is data, and it basically analyzes their performance to see who's the best. And out of that performance, they'll choose 3. So obviously, the first ranking player will get their points, and then the points diminish as they go down. So let me just get this on the screen so we can all see.
So it's a bit like a man of the match type thing?
Yeah, it is, but you've got 3 players. So for the best player who played up to 60 minutes, they'll get 1 point, and so on and so forth. the max a player can get in bonus points is 3, and who has the highest stats, and then 2 for the second and 1 for the third. But it's pretty self-explanatory. Let me just zoom in on that because I can't quite see it myself. So let's go up this way. So if a player played for 60 minutes, they can get up to 1 bonus point. Or if they played for 60 minutes or more, but it does not include stoppage time, you get 2 points, and so on and so forth. It all depends on the performance and how Opta actually see it, which is kind of tricky because obviously you can't say, oh no, my player did this, my player did that. It's all based on stats, and then they will be added after the game once they've done all their data. I'm not too sure how long it takes to get on there, but it's bonus points based on performance for each player. So, but you can also lose points as well, especially if it's a keeper or a defender. For every 2 goals conceded by a goalkeeper or defender, it's -1 point. Each penalty miss, -2. And then obviously the rest are all positive, as you can see on the screen, which I don't think is too bad considering. But all of this obviously is going to help you go through your leagues, especially if you're on Cannon Chatter and there's 80 people playing. This is the kind of thing is the thing you're going to be looking for to get you climbing up the ladder.
Yeah, so gone are the days though where you can basically go, brilliant, my forwards just scored a goal, that's 20 points. You know, my defenders kept a clean sheet, there's 30 points. Just forget trying to add up your own points.
Yeah, they'll do it for you. They'll give you what they feel is correct. And it just goes from there, really. Obviously, I believe, I'm not too sure if we will get to see a breakdown of what we get each game, but I'm going to find that out after game week 1. And hopefully I'll be back with another episode where we can sit and chat about it a bit more and to see how everyone's doing after the first game week, which will be very interesting. Harrison from Leeds. Is he in the midfield? I can't remember off the top of my head. Oh, is he a midfielder?
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure. Okay, I'm going to have to come back to that in a second. I'm going to have to go and look that up. Random players, Smith Rowe.
Yeah, Harrison from Leeds, 160 points last season, 6 million.
Yeah. Oh, bargain.
Midfielder.
Especially for over 150 points. G, I'm assuming that's your random player that Stephen was asking about. Chris has got Smith Rowe, depending on if Arsenal sign Madison, to if he stays in my team or not. That's interesting. I've got him tipped to have a really good season this season.
So Smith Rowe got 74 points last season.
Yeah. He didn't
considering he only played half the season.
Yeah, it's not too bad. It's not too bad at all.
But as Chris says, I mean, there's a lot to weigh up because if we did get Madison, then yeah, I mean, the two of them are going to share game time, I would imagine. But the other thing as well, though, Chris, is, I mean, you're saying that, but chances are Madison won't happen till probably close to deadline day, if not on deadline day. So you've got to have picked this beforehand. So does Smith Rowe go into the team now and get transferred out later? Or do you go on gut feeling that Madison's coming and transfer him out now? You know, it's a strange one. My sort of random player would be Trinchao of Wolves, who's just signed from Barcelona. I think he may have a good season, so I popped him in the team, 6 million. Which actually, when you look at some of the other midfielders, I actually think he's quite dear for someone who's just come in.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, I think for me, my most random player, it'd have to be West Ham's Kufal. I might not have pronounced that right, but he had a brilliant season last season. And I do think he'll be interesting to watch in that defence.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm going to move on to the top 8 players recommended by FPL themselves to have this season, just in case anybody hasn't seen it. So starting from the top, it would have to be Sanchez from Brighton. He had a very, very good season. He's only 4.5 million as a goalkeeper. I do feel he is underpriced, but he's run of games. He's got a very good start to the season. We've also got Mr. Reliable for FPL is Alexander-Arnold. He's going to be absolutely raring to go with the fans back in the ground. I do find that he feeds off the energy of the players. And then obviously you've got the top three scorers for the season. They had great season last season. They did really well with the captain points. So that would be Salah, Bruno Fernandes, and Harry Kane. Ollie Watkins is also tipped to have a very good season for FPL because he had a great season last season as well. And also, I've noticed that like Shaw has come into play as well because he was very good for England, but he's also underpriced at 5.5 million, which is an absolute bargain for him personally. His attacking potential is great. His clean sheets are great in the season as well. And my last recommended player is Rafinha from Leeds. He's great price, but normally at the price that he's priced at, it's usually a top player you're looking at in a weaker team. So he's definitely absolute bargain because he's the main attacking threat for Leeds, and he is involved with a lot of their attacking play. Stephen, is there anybody else you'd recommend for the season that you think is like a dark horse?
Well, I'm looking at some of the points here. Rafinha would be a midfielder, isn't he?
Yep.
I'm just trying to find him here.
Yeah. Let me just double check. I do have him on my team. Oh no, I've got Dallas on my team. Take that back. There is a search button at the top if you just want to type his name in, Stephen. Yeah, Rafinha is 6.5 million, and his total points for last season were 133. So, but he's tipped to have a good season this season.
So the only thing I would say on that, there he is, yes, 133.
Mm-hmm.
You've got the likes of Stuart Dallas at 5.5, got 171 points last season.
Yeah, I've got him in my team. I swapped him around. I spotted that the other day. So I've definitely got Dallas. And
as G has gone for in there, Harrison got 160 points last season and is 6 million. So
definitely bargain price, especially if you're getting the big players. As I said, several times, Salah, Bruno Fernandes, Harry Kane, they're all marked. Even Aubameyang, the first three are all marked in the 12 to 12.5 million range, whereas Aubameyang's only 10. I believe Vardy's at the 10 bracket as well, if I remember rightly.
Yeah. It's interesting just looking at some of the, how some of the teams some of the players are scored. And, just looking at that now, and I'm sort of going, well, there's the likes of Stuart Dallas was the 6th best midfielder last season. Mm-hmm. But he's not someone you would automatically think, oh, I'm going to go and put Stuart Dallas in my team.
Yeah, no, definitely not. I was definitely one of those people.
I'm going to be honest, after this show tonight, I will be giving this team a lot more consideration over the next week and looking at it a wee bit deeper and probably changing quite a bit of it.
Oh, it sounds exciting. Definitely what I definitely want to do, I think towards the end of the season, I'm going to have a screenshot of my starting team and what my team looked like when I finished, just to compare the two. I definitely think I definitely want one of yours and G's as well. I think that could be very interesting to chat about. Okay, so Mr. Arsenal podcast, I believe that's Ryan. His most random player is Tony from Brentford. It's definitely a huge risk. It's either a case of him being a huge success or an absolute flop. So we'll see what he brings on Sunday. Oh, Liam's with you on that one, Stephen. He's definitely going to be reviewing it further. Okay, so for the last bit, I'm just going to give you some tips for game week 1. This is what I've picked up from all the videos that I've watched. So for every week, you really need to look at your fixtures. Target the players that you want to captain in the first few weeks. So that would be the expensive players, Salah, players like that, etc. I would have a max of 2 to 3 premium players. So that's the expensive end. And then obviously balance your team out with the smaller players that are rated at 6, 5, 4, or 7, or whatever you want to do. Player pricing does help you construct your squad. I mean, you've got to use your brain. You've got to do a bit of maths, although it does calculate it for you. But you've just got to balance it out. For me personally, though, I did choose a cheaper keeper because I've got the premium choices right. I think I do. Don't take my word for it. But then I've built my team around them because that's where I'm hoping to get my points. I'm going to ask the people in the chat first. Which player this season do you think is going to be the biggest surprise and why? If you can get your comments in there as quick as possible, that'd be great. Stephen, I'm going to ask you the same question. Who's going to be your biggest surprise of the season in terms of points as well for FPL, the bigger picture, as well as analysis and performance?
Okay, so like the surprise package of the season?
Yep. Which player from any team?
Do you know when we prepare these shows and usually I'm hosting and I'll send you through an idea of roughly what we're going to talk about, so I'm not like blindsiding you.
Sorry. I can do mine if you want. That's fine. I've already got mine.
I think Buendia will do well.
Yeah.
At Villa. I'm not sure how much of an unexpected sort of one that is.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think who else. I'm trying to think who signed. Come back to me in a minute.
Okay, I'm actually going to go with Pepe this season. Purely because he had 10 goals in the midfield last season. And that's across all competitions, obviously, because we saw the stats that we only had 3 goals from midfield last season, including Al Neni's first goal in the Premier League. I think that with ESR and Saka adding the more creativity, there could be more goals coming. And he could be an FPL hero in terms of points.
Okay. I think one other one, for me, I think someone new coming into the league, completely coming into the country as well, would be Kanate.
Yeah.
Coming into Liverpool. I think if Van Dijk can get back, I don't think Van Dijk will ever get back to his top form, but if he can get back to anywhere close, having Kanate next to him, I think the two of them will do really well as a central defensive partnership. So I think Kanate could get you a lot of points. And I think he'll be, again, I don't know if people would consider it a surprise, but I think he could be one to watch out for and one to have in your team.
No, definitely. I know, Michael, you just missed the question. Who's going to be the biggest surprise of the season and be that FPL hero for the season? If you can think of anyone, stick it in the comments. I think that's everything for tonight. We've actually gone through it quite quickly. I quite enjoyed that. I don't know what you guys think in the comments. If you've got any more questions, hit them in now. And that's it. I think that's everything for tonight. Stephen, do you want to go through the socials?
We have another couple of comments there.
Oh, let's hang on. Let's come back to those. Where are we? Oh, Billy Gilmore. That's a good call, Liam.
Yeah. Sancho coming in at United. Yeah, I mean that's another.
No, definitely. I mean, he's another one that's actually, I think, at 10 to 12 million already, and he hasn't even had his first season. That could be a very interesting one.
Because I think there's a lot of expectation on the likes of him. I think I'll tell you someone who I think will be actually a flop.
Go on then.
Varane.
Yeah. No,
and I wouldn't be putting Varane anywhere near my team because I think he will flop. He was only ever good when Ramos was beside him. And if you look at the games he's played when Ramos has been out injured, he's not been good. You know, you look at him against City in the Champions League, and Sterling was turning him everywhere.
Yeah.
So I actually think Varane's going to flop.
Okay. I'm just trying to think who'd my biggest flop be. I really don't want to say this, but I'm going to go with Tony. Then again, anything could happen with him. That's the problem. He was the Championship's top goal scorer. But do you know what? I'm going to go for Arsenal's number 34. Biggest flop of the season. As always. Especially if we stay in.
No comment.
I know. Okay, Michael's agreeing with me. Pepe will do the bits for us this season. I'm definitely looking forward to him picking up where he left off next season. And Chris. Oh, okay. So if Kane leaves, Gilmour could be on his way to Spurs. I think he might have a bit more common sense than that, to be fair. Chris?
Okay. Just a comment here on Twitter from Jamie Gillen at Swifty8711. Dallas was a defender last season and scored a lot more goals than expected. I did send Lottie a link to an FPL tip video on who to avoid in week 1, but maybe she didn't watch it. LOL.
I probably haven't. I do apologise, Jamie. I do apologise. I'll catch up with that later, and I will share it with you all afterwards. Ooh. Okay, so the biggest. Okay, that sounds interesting, Matt. Martinelli. Do you think he'll get some game time off the boss this season? I hope he does. Okay. Flop of the season. Flop of this season, considering the price maybe Aubameyang. I don't many people have picked him in their teams. Actually, Chris, Stephen's got him in his team, haven't you?
I do. That being said,
yeah,
I know what you're getting at, Chris. And I think Matt in there with a comment as well. If Oba doesn't sort himself out, then yeah. Just looking at it, Aubameyang had a poor season last year. And he still was Arsenal's top scorer on 131 points.
I'm not surprised, to be fair, because the goals were 24 points a hit. So
yeah, but when you consider how poor a season he actually had, he still scored reasonably well.
No, definitely.
And actually, of the forwards in the league, we go by forwards. He was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10th overall.
And that was a poor season.
And that was his poor season. So, you know, Aubameyang's one of those ones you could take a risk, put him in, and hope he comes good. And if he comes good, he will get masses of points. Or if he may potentially flop. You know, if you look at the 2 seasons before that, he got 131 points last season. 19-20 and 18-19, he got 205 points both seasons.
So he's
So if he gets anywhere near that form, you're talking a player who's could potentially get you 170, 180 points. And if you captain him and get double points, or triple captain him on the right game in the season, and he gets a hat trick or something, you could be massive points from him.
Yeah, you could be laughing all the way to the top of the Cannon Chatter League, couldn't you, really?
Well, this is it. But then again, it's like, it's like Chris has already alluded to with the signing of Madison. If we sign Madison, then the Smith will get less game time. What about if we sign Martinez?
Yeah.
Exactly. From Inter? Does Aubameyang get any game time then all of a sudden?
Yeah, that is true. That is true. We do have a question from Michael again. Oh, Odegaard or Madison, Stephen? I'll let you go first. I know who I'm choosing.
Odegaard and Aouar would be the same money as Madison. So I would say Odegaard and Aouar. If we're only going one or the other of Odegaard or Madison, yeah, Madison.
No, definitely. I'm on the same page with you but I probably wouldn't want Odegaard. I'd rather have Guimaraes from Lyon with Aouar. That would be a much cheaper option for us. I don't understand why we haven't bought either. Yeah, it's complete madness.
Okay.
Matt said Madison for me. Such a better player in my eyes. That's true. Plus he's Premier League proven, which is always a bonus. Chris says, but Oba is 10 million, which is only 0.5 million less than Vardy.
Yes, but Leicester have signed Patson Daka, so Vardy's game time's going to be cut.
That is true. The thing is, he's getting old now. He's in his 30s now, isn't he, Vardy?
Yeah, he's about 32, 33.
Yeah, so he's coming to the end of his career before he can actually retire. So, Matt, we can put it up.
Patson Daka might actually be a shout.
Yeah, no, that definitely. Definitely. The thing is, with him, you can't use your analytics. It's a risk. Someone to take a risk, like a punt on, basically.
But I think that's the same with people who are picking Ivan Toney.
No, definitely.
It's a punt because you don't know how they're going to do in the league.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, it's complete guesswork most of the time, but you need to look at what the managers are playing, what the tactics are, what the stats are saying. It's actually quite tricky. I'm quite looking forward to it, to be honest, although I'm getting a bit frustrated with who I'm going to play with game week 1 and it hasn't even started yet. Right, Stephen, do you want to run through the socials?
Yeah, I will indeed. So, first of all, thanks everybody who's watched this live tonight. We really appreciate it. I know Lottie was feeling a bit nervous before we started. This was her first time running StreamYard and stuff, as well as actually hosting. And you've done a great job, Lottie, so well done.
Thank you.
If you are watching this later on, thank you. Make sure that if you haven't already, drop a like on the video and show Lottie some love for what she's done tonight. If you want to follow us on our socials, you can follow us on Facebook. It's just Cannon Chatter. Or on Instagram, it's Cannon_Chatter. You can follow us all on Twitter. There's the main Cannon Chatter account, which is @CannonChatter. And I think, memory serves me right, we are about 13 away from 7,000 followers on that account. And we're coming up to almost a year since I set Cannon Chatter as an entity up. So it was basically on the 31st of August last year. So to have 7,000 followers in a year, I'm pretty pleased with that. I think we've done pretty well so far. You can follow myself on Twitter. It's @SBCannonChatter. I don't tend to post an awful lot because I do run the other Cannon Chatter account. And then we obviously have G, who's not on with us tonight. It's @GTalksArsenal. And Lottie is @Lottie_B, because somebody else got Lottie with one eye. She has two eyes. Lottie also has her blog, if you want to read that, which she updated the other day with a couple of new things. And I believe, are you working on a few things at the minute for it?
At the moment, the two things that I have put on there are all the information you need to know about Tavares and Sambi. I am currently working on Ben White. I'm getting there. It's almost done. It will be out soon.
Okay, and that's Lottie at lottieafc.blogspot.co.uk. I do advise you go on and have a read of it. It is really interesting stuff. And most importantly, make sure to subscribe, turn on notifications, and hit the like button on every video. Turn on your notifications so you never miss one, but we do obviously heavily advertise all our shows, and you know what, you guys are great at tuning into them and taking part and getting involved in the chat, so thank you.
Sorry, Stephen.
No problem. If anybody hasn't already joined the Fantasy League, the entry code is CS2YNA. But it's across the top of the screen if anybody hasn't seen that already.
Okay, so it's good night from me. Oh, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you're in the world. Thank you very much for tuning in. Stephen?
Good night.
Want to add anything else?
No, nothing from me.
Okay, thanks, guys.